Namaste. Welcome to the series Sounds of English. Let us see what is mother tongue influence. Do we know this word? Mother tongue influence or MTI. Every native language leaves an impact on the way we speak English. This is called as mother tongue influence. So, let us not blame anything else for speaking wrong English. The reason we speak wrong English or pronounce some words wrongly is totally to blame on the mother tongue influence. Indian languages are phonetic languages. What are phonetic languages then? Phonetic languages are languages that are written and pronounced in a similar fashion. However, English is a semi-phonetic or sometimes it is also called as a non-phonetic language. The spellings and the pronunciations could be different. Let us look at some spellings and some words which are wrongly pronounced by us as non-native speakers. The first one, America. It is America. We say colonel. It's colonel. Remember the military colonels? It's colonel. Then we say vegetable. It's vegetable. We tend to say colleagues. It's not colleagues, it's colleagues. The people who work with us, colleagues. We say academic. It's academic. Then when we go out and eat, we say let's go to a restaurant. It's not restaurant, it's restaurant. We say rendezvous. It's rendezvous. Meeting place, meeting joint. Then we say we are all devotees. It's not devotee, it's devotee. We tend to say administration. We add an extra Y to A, but it is administration. Then many people say jurisdiction. Wrong. It should be jurisdiction. And of course, one very wrongly pronounced word is pronunciation. It's not pronunciation, it is pronunciation. Let us look at some sentences that we tend to say wrongly. For example, if we need to ask someone, what are you up to this Diwali? We may ask them, we ask them, what you are doing for Diwali? Where you are going? So, we have that inherent drawl to this, the way we ask questions, and the verb pattern is wrong. So what we should ask them is, what are you doing this Diwali? Are you planning to go anywhere? Some other most confused pronunciations. We have a lot of problem with pronouncing the PH words like phone. We say phone, photo, gramophone, phosphorus, phantom, graph, telegraph. They are all wrongly pronounced. The correct pronunciation? Phone, photo, gramophone, phosphorus, phantom, graph, telegraph. Some other F words which are written with F in it. Both PH and F sounds are same in English. So, fish, fast, funny, fantastic, foreign, fat. However, all these words are sometimes pronounced very wrongly as pat, pish, punny, fantastic. So the point is, we don't have to join our lips when we make the F sound. Let us see some other mistakes committed by us non-native speakers. TION, shun becomes sun. For instance, we say mention, tension, attention. SH becomes S. For instance, should. Shoulder becomes shoulder, should. And D gets an additional weight when we add it in speech. For instance, instead of saying add, we say add. R becomes a big rumbling R. That has to be avoided. We can say rose, red. However, we tend to say red. Now, that kind of a thrust on R and D is not required. We say words like God, No, we don't have to give that extra D there. Let us look at what happens with the Y. Y becomes, actually, A becomes Y, yand. We say yand. That's wrong. M is always pronounced as yum. It is not yum, it is a plain M, M. So most of us have this issue with pronouncing M, N. We have to say N. L becomes yal. Y is pronounced as Y. For example, we say Y. The Y is Y. That's wrong. It's just a simple Y. And X, when it comes in words, is pronounced as J. For instance, people say exactly. Now that is not exactly. It should be pronounced as exactly. Exactly, that was the point. So let us try and understand what is accent. All of us have a typical Indian accent, and why not? Let it be there. However, the idea is to neutralize the impact of mother tongue influence on the way we speak English. So, an effort must be made to minimize the impact of mother tongue. In order to achieve this, it is not necessary to change the accent altogether. All that we have to do is we just have to neutralize, and we have to start pronouncing English words the way they are to be pronounced. It does take a little time, but a little patience and a little hard work will help you get there. And there are some small tricks too there. So there are some accents around us. What are those? It is British English, American English, Australian English and Indian English. British English is a lot found on TV. American English, a lot found on TV and on social media channels. And Australian English can be seen being spoken on TV series. However, Indian English is our accent. The way we speak in India should be chosen as our accent, and we just need to neutralize it. So, what is accent finally? Accent is speech pattern. The drawl. Remember, as I said, what are you doing this Diwali? Now, that is not the way we speak in English. We just have to change the drawl style. For instance, we can say, what are you up to this Diwali? The way we draw the sentence in pronunciation. And of course, the pronunciation itself. Then, what is diction? Accent and diction are similar but not the same. Diction is the clarity of words, also the choice of words. For instance, let us say some words as we say them in Indian English. We say today morning. Actually, it could be this morning. We say yesterday night. It should be last night. Where are you put up? Is as simple as where do you live? It could be you can just say where do you live? Or we have the old pattern from British users earlier on. They used to say where do you stay, where do you put up, or where do you live? All these three were different. But nowadays we can just say where do you live? We don't have to say where are you put up. Then I don't take meat. I don't eat meat. Both are same. We tend to say I don't take meat. When we ask people their names, we say what's your good name? It simply means what's your full name or what's your name? Then we say pass out. My daughter passed out of BA. We can just say graduated. My daughter graduated last week. Then we say cent%. This means 100%. So there are certain usages which are very typical to Indian users. If we wish to use them, we can use them, not a problem at all. However, if we have to change the way we speak and pronounce, and if we want to minimize the impact of mother tongue influence on the way we speak English, we need to do some effort. And the effort is, the first thing that we can do is we can make reading groups. So how do these groups help us? They help us in trying to understand how others are pronouncing. In a group, we have to observe everyone's pronunciations and go by the right pronunciation. So we need to read aloud to each other. Wherever there's a problem, we need to discuss the meaning and the pronunciation of difficult words. We need to help each other in the group. And of course, while we are doing all this, we need to read and record group presentations. Wow, this is a very nice remedy. Try these fun things. They're called as tongue twisters. A lot of them are available online. However, let's just try one of these. Of course, you need to say it very fast. For the sake of understanding, I'm just going slow. A flea and a fly flew up in a flue. Said the flea, let us fly. Said the fly, let us flee. So they flew through a flap in the flue. Now, this is going to help you to give a good exercise to your tongue. Let us come to some British American English vocabulary. So in British English, when we say biscuits, Americans say cookies. When British say blocks of flats, they say apartment building. For British, it is bonnet. For American, it is hat. For British English, it is bonnet of a car. For American English, it is the hood. Likewise, the boot space, which is said in British English, but in American English, it is trunk space, the back side of the car. Then we say car park in British English, while in American English, they say parking lot. Chemist shop and drugstore. Now, Americans say drugstore. Chips. The British say chips. The Americans say fries or French fries. The British say the cinema. The Americans say the movies. Oh, that's a lot of exercise. But then let's go to some more sentences in American English. I'm going to a party on the weekend, while the British would say, I'm going to a party at the weekend. What are you doing on Christmas? Americans will say this. However, the British could say, what are you doing at Christmas? Then the Americans say Monday through Friday. This means Monday to Friday. The Americans say it's different than the others, whereas the British say it's different from the others. There are some other pronunciation differences too. In British English, they pronounce the O as an O, for instance, in spot, whereas the Americans tend to say a little bit of an R there, for instance, in spat. The British will say fast, whereas Americans say fast. It is better. The word is better in British English. In American English, it is better. A little bit of da there. R is sometimes silent in British English, whereas in American English it is pronounced everywhere. Words like privacy are privacy in British English, whereas in American English it is privacy. For instance, direct is direct in British English, whereas in American English it is direct. Or finance in British English and finance in American English. Well, let us look at some people who have already been successful in overcoming their mother tongue problems and mother tongue influence problems and have learnt English midway when they became famous. So the first instance here is Kangana Ranaut. We all know her, don't we? This girl was so determined to learn English that when she came to Mumbai from her native place, she was laughed at, and then she took the bull by its horns and she made a big effort, and today she speaks very good English. There's another person, very famous person, we're all proud of him. Kapil Dev is one person who knew very little English when he actually became the captain. But then after that, he took it as a challenge and he learnt English so well. Today, he speaks English so well, and once upon a time, Rapidex English Reader, the very famous English teaching book series, actually had him as their face, the brand image. Now, we can also use software. There are many software available online, offline. The most important thing is to listen to people when they speak. Listen, listen, listen. The best bet is to listen to British English. Indian speakers may use a heavy and verbose kind of speaking. The sentences are too complicated to understand. So let's go to British and try and understand British English the way it is. American usages are not really ideal at this stage because they're far too complicated. They use a lot of local terms and colloquial terms which are not very easy to understand for many of us. So, what else can be done to overcome mother tongue influence? Let's use the dictionary. Of course, let's practice tongue twisters. Let us watch a lot of TV series and OTT series. They're very helpful. Let us watch TV serials with subtitles in it. And try to speak in English at all times. That's going to help you a lot. Record your own voice and listen to it and note your own pronunciation mistakes. And how can you correct your own pronunciation? Go online. There are a lot of dictionaries available online that help you to correct your pronunciation. Some other things. When we listen to music with full lyrics in it. On social media platforms, they are available. So we understand what they are saying word by word, and then we come to know words. For instance, this Michael Jackson song. You may go online, listen to it, and say it along with the singer. It helps. Observe the mouth movements of those who try to speak English well, and try to imitate them. It's going to help us. Of course, this is not the last, but the most important tip. Until we learn correct intonation and rhythm of English, we must speak slowly. The effort is to speak correctly, not to speak fast. Remember, speaking fast is not fluency. Of course, tune into some English music as I just said, and get, set, go. Thank you.